All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close, the first market close of 2026. It is Friday, January 2nd. We are live. Your boy is on time. He was on time in the morning, on time in the I haven't been late yet for a market open or market close show as we start off 2026. Weird day. Good day, I think. Bad day for some stocks. Overall decent. You got D-Wave up 7%. That's your quantum. You got Hoodie that was testing 110 this morning, up 2%. BM&R up 14%. SPY is flat after going up a lot in the morning and then red a lot during the 11 a.m. portion. Now we've recovered to basically nothing. IREN's up 12. That's good. Corey's up 11. Nebius is up 8. That's good. Meta's down 1. Microsoft is down 2. Apple is down 0.47. Google completely not really reacting to anything that's been going on. 314.85. It was at 323 this morning, now at 314. Again, relatively flat, slightly green. A little bit of a weird day, just given how the market opened. I think there's a variety of themes that are going on. You got Netflix that's down 2.74%. You got the data center stocks like Applied Digital up 14%. The real theme of the day is SMH, the semis. They have opened up to a fantastic start of 2026. If you have any exposure to the semiconductor names, whether it's NVIDIA and AMD, which is up a nice 4.7% on the day. NVIDIA was busting through 192. Now it's at 188.70, still green for the day. Micron really is the story of the semis, along with ASML. 315, that is up 10.3%. People are absolutely piling into the memory names, and there's been a lot of reasons we've been talking about memory over the past couple of weeks, and I guess it's manifested in potentially a lot of fund managers on day one of January saying, you know what, we want memory exposure. Then you got ASML that also is up 9.2% on the day. One could argue that this is one of the largest companies in the semiconductor ecosystem that has one of the largest moats in lithography. And that is getting rewarded with a price target upgrade to $1,500 today, up 9.2%. So it was weird because as soon as the market opened, everything was green. And then everything went down except the semis. And then you had to start picking which stock you wanted to be in, which sector you wanted to be in. And that determined kind of how red or green your start to 2026 was. I mean, Amazon from 235 to 226. Does that make a lot of sense? Not really. Nonetheless, that's down along with all the Max 7. Tesla, they missed on deliveries by a small percentage point. Tesla, wow, I didn't even look at it. 438. I have not looked at Tesla for the past 2 hours. Last time I saw it was 445. So that one's getting hit below 440. And then, of course, Palantir got hit. Honestly, I'm not sure why Palantir's down. The sector-wide reason likely is because of SaaS. CRM down 4%, Adobe down 4.5%. I mean, all the SaaS names are getting hit for some reason. Datadog's down 1.2%. Snowflake is down 1%. So all the SaaS names are down. Palantir is a SaaS company at the end of the day, and that's why that's down. IGV, the SaaS ETF, is down. But maybe you've got people taking profits on Palantir that have been waiting for the past couple of weeks, and on day one of 2026 to book in their gains, they might be taking profits, which is what's leading to some of the red right here. But yes, the software sector in and of itself is getting hit. Oh boy, I just looked at the title. I said first close of 2025. I meant to say 2026. I want to go back to 2025 already. All right, I changed it. First close of 2026. Boy, still stuck in the past, dude. All right, so what else is going on this morning? We got a bunch of different headlines to talk about. Again, Micron up 10% on the day. NVIDIA's up 1%. Palantir and the SaaS names are getting hit. The crypto names, Ethereum actually outperforming Bitcoin today, 3,100. That's up 3.62%. Bitcoin did get to 90.5, actually got to 90.9, almost was at 91. Now it's at 89.7. So you are seeing a little bit of a divergence between Bitcoin and Ethereum, which is nice for those that own BM&R. MicroStrategy right there, that's up 3.2. BM&R is up 14. Tom also did put out a video today explaining why he wants to authorize the 50 billion shares being diluted. I still don't think it made any sense. The argument is like, well, we're going to do stock splits in the future, so we need to have all these shares ready. In my opinion, like, you deal with that when you deal with that. By the way, the price has to go up a lot for them to do a stock split. I don't think they're going to be splitting the stock at $30. So I don't know why they're authorizing that today. So I still don't understand the logic of why they're doing it. But nonetheless, ETH is up today. That's why BM&R is up. And maybe that video did offer some clarity to people at least. And that could have been a reason why the stock is up today as well. But that is up 14% as well, as that goes green on the day. Rocket Lab and space names also. Wow, I haven't looked at Rocket Lab in the past couple hours either. 75.60, 8.3. ASTS should be up 14%. See, it's just a weird day, dude. You have a lot of companies that are just like, you would think if Rocket Lab's up 5%, or ASTS is up 10%, 14%. Tesla should be up. Palantir should be up. Nope. The exact opposite. I mean, but then you also have crypto in the high beta name getting some exposure and going higher. Saidu Space, that's up 35%. FJet, that's down 10%. So you do have some of the space names going down. Lunar, that's probably up. Lunar's up 10%. I mean, if you're in space, if you're in semis, if you're in crypto, particularly Ethereum, you're having a decent day. And some of the other sectors like energy are doing great as well. T1, Bloom, Fluence, etc. But you do have a lot of other sectors that are getting hit, like software with some fundamental names in there that are also getting hit.
Yeah, hi, Courtney. The semiconductor stocks really just rallying to kick off 2026. Flash memory names really leading the gains. SanDisk jumping 14%, while Micron gaining about 10% right now. Chips are higher for two particular reasons. First, you got next week's Consumer Electronics Show, CES, where NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and AMD Lisa Su and many others are going to be giving speeches, panels, etc. So let's just call it the pre-CES trade. But the more immediate driver today is a wave of positive headlines coming out of Asia. You have Chinese AI chip designer Shanghai Biren surging 76% in its Hong Kong debut today, showing just so much appetite for anything AI and chip related in China. Then you also have Chinese tech giant Baidu filing paperwork for its own chip unit IPO. Then you had memory maker Samsung CEO saying Samsung is back. That was the quote, signaling the company is closing in on a deal to supply NVIDIA with high bandwidth memory. In other words, demand is very strong. And also just 2 days ago, TSMC secured a 1-year license from the U.S. government to keep importing American chip-making equipment into China. All of that, TSMC up 5%, all of that fueling this buying right now. ASML, one more name I want to mention because that lithography maker from the Netherlands jumping about 9% on those Asia trends and a double upgrade from a Hong Kong analyst, which flipped the stock from sell to buy with a $1,500 price target. The big thing, though, is lower volume and thin liquidity today are also helping amplify a lot of these moves. And we're also seeing some rotation out of software into chips, too, that was just helping that purchasing. Courtney?
Good stuff, Christina. Thank you for giving.
I don't know if all these names have lower volume. I mean, she goes through a lot of reasons for why the semiconductor names are getting some momentum. But if you take a look at a name like ASML, average volume is 1.4 million. Today's volume is 2.37 million. So, I mean, people are trading. AMD average volume is 53 million. That's at 30 million. So people are not trading that name that much. But the point is volume is not like horrendous like it was over the past week. BM&R right there, 31. It's just the question is the excitement that's leading to this. TSM average volume is 12 million. Today is 16 million. That's an all-time high, folks, 319. What is the market cap of, that's got to be above 1 trillion now, 1.6 trillion. It just overtook Broadcom. TSM is number 6. Number 7 is Broadcom. NVIDIA's at 4.5. Apple's at 4 trillion. Google's at 3.8. Google looks like it's going to get to 4 trillion definitely this year, if not closer in the next coming months. And then Microsoft right there at 3.5. Microsoft wasn't really able to catch too much of a bid today. That one's still down 2.3%. But what do you guys think? I mean, what is the logic for why Iran and Ondas are ripping today and Tesla and Meta and Amazon are dumping? I mean, and Palantir, it's just I don't know. I feel like we need, Nebius is up to, I feel like we need a week of 2026 to start seeing what's happening right here, but it's hard to draw a lot of conclusions other than people are picking certain sectors and they're piling in. And again, usually a lot of these names follow a trend with other sectors. And today that's just not happening. VG, that's up 3.67. Snapchat's up 1%. Netflix getting hit. That's down 2.9. Applied Digital again. All the data center plays are up. GE Veranova, that's up. Enphase starting to get some momentum. People starting to think Enphase might be a solar play in the energy world. BE, that's up 13%. SMR is up 14%. Oklo's got to be up today. Oklo, yeah, 8% for Oklo. It's kind of crazy because last week we saw none of these names really get the excitement and momentum. It was almost like they didn't even exist. And then first day of 2026, it's like screw Mag 7. We're going back into these names, which is quite an incredible way to start off the year. Broadcom as well was green at 360. This one ended up getting faded, now back down to 346. So this was a semi that couldn't hold up. But SMH in general is doing pretty well. There is rotation into beta, 100%. I would define today as there is rotation into beta. Because I mean, everything that I'm describing is like super high beta. Like almost every single name here is high beta. 8352 on a name like ASTS as well. Extra money buying beta, those need to shave money, the big guys in the Max 7. Definitely thinking there is a little bit of a rotation from the Max 7. Let's pull up the heat map. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Outside of Google and NVIDIA, there's your heat map. Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, Palantir, Apple, Salesforce, Intuit, all of these guys just red. Berkshire even down 1.4% today. Buffett did do an interview, and we got some clips of that we'll take a look at, but he is done being the CEO. He will not be at the shareholder meeting next week, or not next week, but later next year, this year. And he also said he has full trust in Greg Abel to run Berkshire Hathaway. So he's officially not the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway anymore. A hoodie is also confusing me because it was getting destroyed this morning and then it recovered. But like, I guess crypto was the reason it recovered, or fintech was the reason it recovered, because SoFi hit 25 today. Now it's at 27.40. I mean, just a complete U-turn across the board on a lot of these names, which begs the question: is that a head fake? Is that real? Are those algos, or is there something, or was the decline more of a bear trap than anything else? Rocket Lab right there up 8.57%, as that is green. Yeah, hood was 110. Guess we're going to find out going into this new year. I mean, we got a bunch of other different headlines that we'll talk about after the bell, but I think the sort of argument today was semis. I mean, if anything else, and everything connected to semis, whether it's data centers, energy, like that was the trend that caught a bid this morning, along with a little bit of crypto. So next week, when everything is back, when the bond markets are officially open, because again, they're open today, but they were closed 2 days ago. So you might have a little bit of delay of action. When everything is open, volume is back, people are back from vacation, we're going to probably start to see a lot more of stuff happening. The shutdown odds are down at 29%. Now, 30% is still pretty meaningful for the shutdown odds. However, there are some rumors circulating that the Republicans and Democrats are ready to negotiate. Bloomberg is reporting that the 2025 funding deal that they signed in October already covers roughly 85 to 90% of spending through September 2026. And lawmakers want to avoid another unpopular shutdown ahead of the 2026 midterms, which means if you believe that because basically 5 to 10% of funding is left and we're not going to shut down the government for 5 to 10. Last time we shut down the government, it was for like 100% of funding. This time it's for a lot less. You know, maybe that risk dies down. If that risk dies down, then that's also realistic to the broader market as well. Quantum, robotics, space, and drones. That's what's flying against some energy. Correct. Quantum, robotics, space, drones, and semis are what's giving people a ton of momentum. Let me know if anyone bought or sold anything today. Put it in the chat. I know there were a decent chunk of people who bought during that like 10 a.m. dip that we got. Amazon got crushed as well. Again, very weird, but you are seeing high beta get more of the excitement versus just regular names. 226.33 Amazon to 1.3%. Seeing by Path, bought VG, bought Fiserv, bought JetBlue, bought ASTS, NVIDIA, Amazon, Rigetti, PayPal. You mean PayPal, but yes, also PayPal. This thing above 57. Okay, it's at least above 57. June says bought Amazon and On. Sam likes On. This stock up 4.6% today. Sold some Iren, sold some covered calls on BMNR. Keep buying TE, Nebius, Iren. All right, so people spending money on the first day of the year. I'm sure people also took some profits as well. You can let me know what people sold today, because we talked about that in the morning. But I mean, when you get a green day like this, the money comes out and people get ready to spend. The question is, can the momentum hold on? Because that is what will really start bringing a lot more money into the markets, which obviously is necessary to keep this bull market going. All right, folks, here we go. It is Friday, January 2nd. Thank you, everybody, for being with me here today. We got a long 2026 to go to see how this plays out. But I'll be here every day in the morning and the afternoon to hopefully help analyze what is going on in the equity markets. Friday, January 2nd, 4 p.m., the stock market for the first time in 2026 is now closed. All right. Markets are closed. S&P 683.22 is the close for the day. That's up 0.19%. The S&P 500 is up 0.19% for the year. Robinhood 115.27. That is green. SoFi 27.46. Oklo was up 8.4% of the day. Microsoft down to TSM all-time highs. That's up 5% on the day. Rocket Lab back to 76. That's up 9%. Ethereum 3,100. Bitcoin 89.7. Palantir 167.86. Again, I don't have a really good reason for why Palantir's down. Maybe there was some insider selling today. We'll probably find out in 30 minutes when the forms are out. Maybe there was some institutional selling, and again, they were just waiting for 2026 to take some profits. But this one did get hit. The thing is, I think the entire SaaS ecosystem got hit, with Salesforce down 4%. Adobe got hit as well. At the end of the day, Palantir is a SaaS stock, and that could have been the reason algorithmically why this one took a hit. Micron 315 up 10.5% on the day. Tesla 438 down 2.59%. Google at 315. United Health at 336. The Qs at 613. They ended basically flat on the day. Nebius was up 7%. Corey was up 10.11. Meta down 1.4. Zeta up after hours. That was down 2.16. The only thing I bought today, for those that are asking, is a little bit of Zeta. 1970. I bought a little bit of Zeta. So that's the only move I made today. VG 705. That's up 3%. Snapchat 813. UiPath down 3. Netflix down 3. Netflix actually getting to the lowest level we've seen in the past couple months now, 90.9. HIMS right there, that was up 3% of the day. Also, the rare earth minerals, I forgot to mention, those names, massive. Absolutely massive today. That was up 8.5%. CRML was freaking up 17% today. USAR, I think, was up 10%. That was up 18%. So rare earths also played a massive role today. And then Amazon down 1.87. Laura got the exact same price. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. Do we do year-to-dates? Are we really doing year-to-dates on the first freaking day? Are we actually doing year-to-dates? Okay. If you guys want to do it, let's do it. 4.24 is my year-to-date. 4.24. Heard some of you guys up 18% year-to-date, dude. Goodness. How much beta is in the portfolio? 18%. My goodness. Jasmine's at 2. Parval's at 4.3. Ricardo's at 0.3. Most of us are between like 2 and 5. Most of us. Robin's at 8.5. Jed's at 1. D1's at 5.9. June's at 4.5. Adam's at 9.7. I mean, look, it was a relatively green day. You had to be in like a few sectors to get hit pretty bad. And even if you were, you probably had other things that helped give some momentum. I mean, Nebius alone, if you're overweight, that's up 8% today. But you got a lot of stocks right here that are down. I was talking to someone today who's heavy in Rocket Lab, and he was talking about just like how his portfolio ended up playing out. And I'm going to use imaginary numbers, but like this is kind of a similar situation. Imagine your portfolios at like, this is the best example. Imagine your portfolio's at 100K and it goes down to 20K in November. And then it goes back to like 110 because Rocket Lab recovered. That's basically what he dealt with. Now the numbers are a bit different, but basically his portfolio was 100, fell to 20 and came back. Now half of his portfolio was options on Rocket Lab, so he didn't really help himself out there by being that leveraged. But the point is it came back and it worked. And he was talking about how he relates to what I've been saying about the volatility just being unbearable. Because I mean, imagine your year ended in November where the S&P fell 5%, but you were down like 70, 80%. Like it's aggressive. It's very, very aggressive. And so what did he do today? He sold a ton, or I think he either did this last week or today, but he sold a ton of his Rocket Lab options, made a lot of money given that it came back. And he's selling some covered calls on his shares, keeping a core position, but he's trying to just make sure he understands how high beta his portfolio is. And also realizing that, you know, if the S&P does take a hit, it's just going to be a very nasty situation to deal with again. So what's the problem? It worked. No, it did work, but like it's also a little tough to imagine if it didn't work. So it's just the nature of being high beta. But pretty much I'm seeing everyone right here up about 4 to 5%. Josephine's up 1.2. Christine is up 15. Was the NASDAQ red today? The NASDAQ had its best day since 2 weeks. Did we end red? We did end red. I saw a stat about Tesla that's kind of crazy. And I believe this stat is accurate. But Tesla has never had 7 days red in a row, but given it closed red today, this is what happened. Or Tesla, this is the tie for the longest streak ever. That Tesla's never gone down 8 red days in a row. And today is that 8th red day in a row. Last time that happened was April 22, 2024. 1 day later, it was up 2%. So maybe this is the bottom on Tessie, given it's been red. But it has been a while since it's been down these many times. Jay Thompson up 13. Dr. Bug at 2.2. Philip at 14. Valero at 15. Joni at 8.2. I mean, a decent chunk of people here at around that 3 to 7% year to date, I would say on average, which is what we got going on. And again, it was a green day, so it makes sense. It's just certain sectors were way more green than others. I mean, if you're leveraged heavy space, like today was a very green day. 683.37 right here on the S&P 500. It was probably a green day for our White House quant who is here in the chat, Mr. Real Matt Money, asking when Lambo. Again, Rocket Lab pushing up to that $80 level. NA says my 300 SoFi call contract's up 470%. What strike is on your SoFi call? I think a lot of people have those SoFi. My dad had $10 strikes, but he sold those in mid-December on SoFi. I think when SoFi was around 25. SoFi right here at 27.40. Now that we're getting close to expiration, you know, if SoFi makes a real move up, then those can go even further higher. All right, cool. So let's get into some of our headlines. I believe Steve will be joining us in a little bit, and we'll get his thoughts on 2026 as we approach a brand new year. AMD right there, 223.47. That's green. ASML was up 8.78% on the day. And then you got Rocket Lab, 76.30 after hours, as that one continues to go green. They were $5 calls. I bought them over a year ago. Wow. Yeah, dude, a year ago, $5 was low-key very close to money, if not out of the money. It was probably close to the money. I remember when SoFi went to $4. That was December 2022. That day was crazy. But it was stuck around 7 and 8 for the better part of the year after that. Okay, here's the question. Let me put this question in the chat, and then we'll get into some of the headlines. You guys like the apology video? That was a legit YouTube video, right? The I'm sorry title, that was a legit. Steve became a YouTuber with that video. Every YouTuber has one of those videos where they just type I'm sorry, and that's your that's your clickbait. The punchline for the video, those that haven't seen it, is like he's sorry that he said S&P 7,000. We only did 680. So that was the kind of joke of the video. But he became, how many views does that video have? It's got to be close to 10K on that video. That's how you know our boy is a YouTuber. 9.2 thousand. There you go. People just love to click when you apologize. They love to click when you're apologizing. Okay, let me put this question in the chat. The question is, do you trust the green today? That's a simple question. So green is coming from a variety of different sectors. Some sectors are getting it, some sectors are not. Some arguments you can make is that we are seeing a rotation into, kind of goes against what a lot of the talking heads were speaking about over the past couple of weeks. Do you trust the green today? Basically, do you think it'll follow up into next year? I think the reason to trust it is that it's a rotation out of the Max 7, which is what the market potentially has been implying with like financials and healthcare getting some momentum in a bid. The reason to not trust it is it's into a lot of high beta, which is not really a rotation into stable things that could prop up the market. But I mean, like simply put, the S&P 500 did nothing today, but you have a lot of names that are up a lot. Why? Because a lot of those names are not in the S&P 500. So they're not necessarily part of the broader market. They're subsets of the market that still can make a lot of money for people that are invested. They're just not contributing necessarily to the broader indices. And so the question is, does that have enough juice to sustain itself, or is that a legit rotation? And that's your bull and bear case. Do I keep saying next year? Dude, why do I love 2025 so much? It's like I can't even realize that we're into it. Also, I said my saying wrong this morning. I thought I said it right, but I said it wrong. Like I said it correctly, but I meant to say it incorrectly, which is actually correctly. Which is my needle in the haystack thing. I said I said needle in a haystack. I meant to say hay in the needle stack, which is the actual right way to do it. But I listened back and I was like, okay, I did it the wrong way. Okay, so let's get into some of these headlines. And again, I put that poll in the chat. 53% of people saying yes, we do trust the green. 46% saying no. So there is a little bit of a yes, no, 50-50 vote on what we've got right here. All right, so headlines. Tesla, Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley reiterated an equal weight rating at a 425 price target on Tessie. Tesla delivered again 418,000 vehicles, 14.2 gigawatts of energy. It was a record deployment. The firm maintains its 2026 outlook of 1.6 million vehicles and 64 gigawatts of energy storage. Morgan Stanley, which by the way is likely going to be the front runner for the actual SpaceX IPO, they are seeing the primary catalyst as progress in Tesla's robotaxi and unsupervised FSD initiatives in H1 2026, which are key to supporting long-term volume growth. They did not say Optimus was the big catalyst for 2026. They believe in it, but they're going back to robotaxi as the most realistic way to make an argument for why this should get most of your momentum. Here were 2025's final December top movers when it comes to the private markets. SpaceX was up 100%. This was in the secondary markets. Anthropic was up 40%. Shield AI up 10%. Epic Games up 9.5%. Then OpenAI up 9%. We know OpenAI likely did two different forms of funding rounds, one for 20 billion and another one for 30 billion in the end of December. Their new valuation likely at 830 billion, potentially raising up to 110 billion. SoftBank officially completed their investment into OpenAI. So those shares continuing to go higher in the secondary markets and people wanting to bid them up. By the way, Tesla is releasing earnings on January 28th. SoFi is going to be January 30th. And Robinhood will be February 10th as well. Some Netflix news. This was really interesting. So the Deadline is reporting that the Netflix is pushing for 17-day theatrical windows for Warner Bros. Releases after its proposed $82 billion deal. Reportedly, theater chains want closer to 45 days. The Stranger Things finale reportedly did 25 to 28 million in theaters over New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Let me know if the Stranger Things finale was good or not. I didn't watch it, but a lot of people had a lot of different opinions on this. I'm not sure if this is going to go well with the movie chains, and this is part of the reason for why some anti-competition experts are saying that Netflix is not going to get this deal done, because they're basically killing the theaters by saying, hey, we're only going to release stuff in the theaters for 2 weeks instead of 45 days. Which is what historically it's supposed to do. And if the movie's really good, then it gets approved for a lot more runtime. But if you only give it 17 days, the question is, how does the movie even have a chance to make a lot of money, especially when people don't even leave to go to the theaters as often as much? So if Netflix starts building their own movies with the help of HBO and Warner Bros., a lot of that stuff becomes exclusive to Netflix, which is really good for Netflix, not good for the theaters, which means the theater business, I don't know, it feels like it all but confirms their death. AMC right there up 1.9%, but that stock now $1.59 on the day as well. Finale was good. A lot of people saying the finale was good. By the way, Steve said he'll be here in 10 minutes, and we'll get him on. Decent people saying the finale was good. SMCI, did they just raise another $2 billion? SMCI was up 5% today. SMCI lined up a $2 billion revolving credit facility with JP Morgan. Okay, that's not dilution. That's just a revolving credit line, which is good. SMCI, another semi name that was up 5%. Because some of you guys are saying it's bad. So, all right, we're going to do a poll on this. We'll see what people think. 55% yes on trusting the green. 45% saying no. Has anyone watched Avatar? I didn't watch that one, but I heard that one was horrible as well. SMCI again up 5%. Okay, so Rocket Lab right there up a little bit. Amazon still 226. Robinhood up a little bit, and then ASTS 83.47. Again, we looked at that stat on Tesla. Has never gone down 8 green days in a row. Today was that 8th day. Usually when that happens, you end up getting some red or some green a day later. So theoretically next week, maybe we should see some excitement on Tessie. Here's another thing that I thought was interesting today. If we take a look at this chart, this is from leverage shares. If you take a look at this, NVIDIA's trailing 12-month revenue at $187 billion is more than Broadcom, AMD, and Intel combined at $149 billion, making this argument for why this AI gold rush is very real and why companies like Berkshire Hathaway that have new management and leadership might end up chasing this AI gold rush as they've already started with buying Google. Here is Buffett today on the transition to Greg Abel.
He's Becky Quick.
And Greg's operated more than I have when you get right down to it. I mean, he's gone over to England to run something. He went to, he came to Omaha one time to run a business for a few years, and he knows there's no secret formula that only CEOs have or anything of the sort. So I'd rather have Greg handling my money than any of the top investment advisors or any of the top CEOs of the United States.
That is a huge endorsement.
It is a huge endorsement, but it's an endorsement we've made, and I am going to have him handling the money of the, in effect, he knows business.
Senior CNBC senior markets commentator Mike Santoli here at Post 9. Now, of course, you've followed the company. You've been to a lot of their annual meetings, the shareholder meetings over the years. Just thoughts on this change and what you just heard?
It's an unusually long kind of lead up to somebody grabbing a job like this, right? So Greg Abel's run the non-insurance businesses of Berkshire Hathaway for like 7 or 8 years. So very much a known quantity, had his hands in that kind of sprawling side of things, and has been the designated successor for over 4 years. So I think that in terms of everybody being prepared for how this was going to go, it's hard to ask for more. If anything, it might have been a little bit of a slow transition. Some outstanding questions, though, as the decider, as Buffett called him, is, I think some make an argument that the non-insurance, non-investments side of Berkshire Hathaway arguably is undermanaged. Maybe there's not enough attempts to kind of centralize some functions.
And again, with $350 billion in cash, you've got a lot of people wondering, how is Berkshire actually going to deliver shareholder value outside of just putting it into treasuries? And so I think that's the biggest question with Greg Abel. Now, they started with Google, which is a good first start, and they got a hell of a price on it. And I mean, with that Berkshire backing, it doesn't seem unlikely that Google easily dips back into that 280, 290 range. But maybe there's a lot more. Maybe there's a lot more strategies that they are going to be deploying now for Berkshire Hathaway. Big Bear AI headline: initiates significant debt reduction to strengthen their balance sheet, calls for redemption of 6% convertible senior notes for 2029. Big Bear was up 8% on the day, up 0.35% after hours. By the way, 60% of you said the Stranger Things finale was not good. So about 60-40 on the good versus bad. BM&R right there at 31.24 after hours. Why was Palantir down today? Again, I really am not sure, outside of the SaaS names being down. The more obvious thing besides SaaS is that, again, Palantir does have a very aggressive multiple, and you might have some people wanting to take profits today. Why today? Because today is the first day they can take profits without the tax hit. And so put in the chat, I said, what did people buy today? But put in the chat what you sold today if you did take advantage of selling anything. I mean, quite frankly, I think Palantir fell with the entire SaaS sector, and then you probably had a lot of people thinking, all right, I'm not going to wait if this goes down any further because it's trading at an aggressive multiple. It might go down further. But then again, every dip on Palantir has gotten bought throughout the last year. So for this to really get some serious downside outside of 5%, which is, 5% is a hit, but 10, 15, 20% downside, I wonder if that happens independently to Palantir outside of the market. Because if it doesn't, then this one just ends up getting bought. Redley says, I sold some Palantir, I sold some Grab, sold some Amcor, got out of Next, and I bought Microsoft. How did Next do today? Next Decade, 5.38. Bought Tesla. Tesla did take a hit today, 438, 2.59. Sold Iren as well, 13%. Again, see, a lot of these numbers, they look nice. It's just a question of we've seen Iren go down 10% in a day, same thing with Nebius, and then go up. And so I think at this point, people are just getting desensitized to some of this stuff. Archer was up 8% as well. Again, Archer is super high beta. Joby, super high beta as well. So when you see these parts of the markets get a bid, the question is, will they hold that bid? And what does that mean for all the other parts of the market? Which it would be kind of funny if January is just straight up high beta momentum to the moon. That would actually be an interesting way to start off the year, right? all the big companies that have like real moats and all this stuff, they like kind of take a back seat. And Archer and Cypher and Iren and Nebius, they all say, we're going higher. I mean, retail would really make a heavy move in the month of July or January if that happens. Very similar to February last year. That's correct. Very similar to February PTSD from last year. Now, February, I think everything was running up. It wasn't just high beta. But I feel like some of the big names would follow the high beta names eventually. There's just more money comes in. That could be very similar to last year. Yeah, and today had options expiring today. Not a lot of options expiring today, but you did have some options that took a bit of a hit. Okay, so that's what we got with Mr. Buffett. We talked about Trump in the morning, delaying some of the tariffs, and particularly on things like pasta makers and stuff like that. So a reaction from Trump to not increase the tariffs as much. Here's Mr. Dan Ives this morning on Bloomberg on his pitch for tech stocks in 2026.
Across AI. Look, it's monetization. And you talk about Tesla, it's the next phase in terms of autonomous, robotics, consumer AI, especially when it comes to Apple. And I think what we're going to see, look, I think it's a prove it year, but that actually makes me more bullish because I think now we go into the next phase of AI. I think tech stocks are up 25% in 2026. But it's not just big tech. It's about second, third, fourth derivatives playing out.
I will be fascinated to see. I don't think anything is officially expected, but you're going to CES, right? Which is not only the biggest tech conference in the world, but it has become the most important car maker conference as well. It'll be fascinating to see if Tesla comes out with any other products there, or if we see a lot more robotics and automation products.
Yeah, and to your point, look, it all starts with the godfather of AI, Jensen. He'll be there with the black leather jacket because when his speech to me is just so important on Monday, because it really starts off strategically what AI is going to look like. He's going to talk about physical AI in terms of autonomous robotics. I think the two best physical AI plays in the world today, it's NVIDIA and it's Tesla. And I think that speaks to you about like Tesla, what everyone's focused on. This is autonomous chapter now coming to Tesla. I think you see Musk right now, wartime CEO. That's the focus when it comes to AI, but also it's the monetization. Remember, only 3% of US companies have gone down the AI path so far.
Are these robots expected to be like B2B robots? So building things in factories, or like a Roomba for consumers? What kind of products do you expect them to monetize?
Yeah, especially at CES, look, humanoid robotics is going to be front and center, autonomous. You're seeing flying cars. A lot of the presence, you talk about a lot of the tensions between US and China. The presence of Chinese companies is going to be, it's going to be a monster in terms of what we see there. I think doubling, over the last few years. But I think it's really going to be about humanoid robotics. It's going to be about autonomous, but this is also going to be about more embedded AI devices that consumers are going to see. CES, we're not just talking about flying drones and refrigerators that talk to you. Now these are much more sort of front and center in terms of it's a who's who. Every big tech player is going to be there, even if they're not unofficially there. They're there to look for acquisition.
I love the idea.
So I will be there at Vegas, and I will be with my leather jacket. I will be in the room when Jensen is giving his keynote. I've never seen Jensen live, so this will be exciting. I'll be in Vegas, leaving on Sunday. So I'll be there for a full week, guys, and I'll be back on Saturday. But we're going to be doing the market open, market closes in a hotel. And I'm excited to see a lot of this embedded AI stuff that Dan's talking about. I mean, I've never been to a tech conference where you could like physically touch and see the technology in front of you outside of like Palantir stuff where they have demos. But this is going to be cool because if there is some really interesting AI stuff, and I think NVIDIA is going to be talking a lot about physical AI, then maybe there's some on-the-ground reporting we can see for this next generation of technology. First market close of 2026, folks. It is time to bring on the man that will be on this show probably many more times in 2026. The man who is sorry. He is so sorry for what he did to everybody in 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, no need to fear. The milkman is here.
Good afternoon, Amit. Good afternoon, everyone.
I just, in the chat, I'm seeing how much people appreciate your apology.
So I have 6 words for you. Not 3, 6.
Okay.
Can you guess what those 6 words are?
I don't even want to guess what those 6 words. I'll let you go for it.
I'm sorry that I don't care.
That's good.
I thought
That's
it was
good. That's very good. No, that's very good. I liked it. For those that didn't see his video, I'll link it right here. But the gist of it is Steve thought we would get 7,000. We got 680. Still a pretty damn good year. And overall, got to be grateful for the returns that we got. Steve, what did you think of the first day of the year? I mean, I don't know if you've been at your computer or not, but S&P was flat. Everything high beta. Drones, eVTOLs, data centers, they were up. And Mag 7 were down, including Tesla, Apple, and Microsoft. Any thoughts on that rotation today?
Yeah, I didn't get to see everything. I did see that Tesla came in light on deliveries, no shit. First day, all good. I think it's a very strong setup for this year. And I think it's going to be a good year for a lot of people. And let's see what happens. I mean, the big news out of China was that something about flying cars working or something. So,
yeah, all the Chinese names caught a bit. I mean, the bigger news was, I think, Baidu spinning out one of its chip subsidiaries that helped pump up a lot of the AI names. But the China stocks are wanting a lot more NVIDIA chips, which has been great for NVIDIA. TSM hit an all-time high today. ASML up 9%. Micron at 300. I mean, do you think the semis just continue their run, or do you think it's getting a little bit too overheated on the first day?
I was saying last night that for all the work and due diligence we do, all of us miss Taiwan Semi, and that was the clearest, easiest play. Just with the more chips and the more RAM needed, that was just the easiest play to make, and none of us made it.
Do you feel like Micron is interesting here, or the memory plays, or they've run too much?
I think Micron can keep running. I think this is the way I'll phrase it. Micron, easy money has been made, but that's no reason why it can't continue to appreciate at a more normalized pace. I mean, the reality is that we need so much more compute, and high bandwidth memory is going to be part of the backbone of the next generation servers.
I mean, SanDisk was the number 1 stock last year in the S&P 500. It was up another 15% today.
Yeah.
It's kind of okay. So if you had to put your mind in the head of a fund manager, do you think they just woke up and said, I missed semis last year, or I underperformed last year because I missed semis, so I'm just piling in on the first day of January into semis?
If you if you're a fund manager and you underperformed last year, I mean, you're probably thinking, what am I going to do this year? I can't not be in these companies. And the de facto play is still going to be NVIDIA, I think. Maybe some people go with Broadcom because it does have a very strong valuation also. Maybe you look at AMD because of how much growth they have. But I can see the semis running away this year. I really can. There's just too much data to back it up with the RPO from all the hyperscalers.
Okay, so let's talk about S&P and targeting. You apologize for 7,000. I think your target next year is 8,000. Do you think you're getting ahead of yourself and you're gonna have to apologize again, or do you? Think
I said I may have to make another apology video for 8,000. We'll see. So
how do you get to 8,000, or why do you get to 8,000? I guess
it's a combination of several economic factors. GDP at 4.3% in Q3. We are likely to get another strong report for Q4. The Fed economic projections could be light on 2026 GDP growth. In a scenario where GDP grows, that means most likely revenue is going to grow for the largest companies in the S&P. And in the age of AI and robotics, we could see margin expansion from that. So it's just simple math. Revenue growth plus margin expansion equals increased EPS. Then you go a step further with a new Fed chair coming in, but definitely, well, not definitely, but right now they have it pegged to 2 cuts. I think it's 3. And I think you see rates closer to 2.5 next year by the end of it. We know that it's either going to be Hassett or what's the other one? Warsh? why is the name escaping me?
Yeah,
Regardless.
Warsh and Waller.
Yeah, Walsh or Waller. So it's going to be one of them. Super doves, reinvigorate the dove case on the Fed. And if we get rates falling, we get likely the 10-year to fall and crack 4, companies refinancing or issuing new debt at lower levels and paying back higher yielding debt. And what does that do? That also expands margins. So if you get margin expansion because revenue is going up and you're utilizing AI and robotics, and then if you're able to bring your interest expenses down, expand margin there, we could have a great year for EPS growth. And the fact that the economic projections are showing that we're going to have 14.5% S&P 500 earnings growth, we're already projecting the 3rd consecutive year of triple-digit growth. So I just think the macroeconomic backdrop is very good, and there's no indication that OPEC is going to try to screw us over right now with withholding supply to try to get oil prices back up. We know that this administration is a big proponent of unlocking upstream production to keep prices low. So as long as unemployment doesn't go up and oil stays in the band of 55 to 65, I think this is going to be a great year. That doesn't mean that we're not going to see a retracement of 5 or 10%, maybe even 15% at some point. But ultimately, I think we go significantly higher.
I think it's a fair thesis. I think your thesis basically mixes in AI earnings expansion, which is not slowing down, and we know that it's not slowing down, along with that Fed easing argument. I also agree with you with oil prices. It's very difficult to see these things coming down, even though the market, going up, even though the market might want them to go up because Trump obviously wants inflation to stay down, which is an incentive the administration has. I guess the broader question then becomes, if things are as good as you're saying, Steve, with GDP, I mean, jobless claims last week were completely insignificant compared to recessionary arguments, and earnings being as good as they are, also the consumer potentially being way better than expected, why would we get the rate cut if the market is so hot?
Because you need to unlock the housing market. I looked at 30-year mortgages today. They're still 5.8, 5.9. Yep. And you need them to come down. We were in a period where the Fed funds rate was next to nothing, and people were getting 30 years fixed, not floating, fixed, between 2.7 to 3.2%. That is a significant difference. And while they are still significantly lower than the 7.5 to 8% that they were, it's still not good enough to truly unlock the housing market. And you need a lot more supply on the market. And the only way to do that is to keep bringing rates lower so people are more likely to actually move instead of being handcuffed to a golden 30-year rate. 1, 2, making the cost of capital less, so builders are more incentivized to build in areas where they are looking at expanding housing.
What do you think of these 5 names as the top picks for the year? This is from Dan Niles. Let me give you the 5. Ticker symbol PI, which you might know, you might not know, radio inferencing tech. Then Apple, Nike, Boeing, Cisco.
I mean, I want some of what he's on.
Really? You don't like those picks? Apple, Nike, Boeing, Cisco?
No.
But you like Cisco.
But as a top pick for the year?
Yeah, it is an aggressive name.
I mean, that's like playing it ultra safe, saying that I'm smarter than everybody else. There's going to be a huge rotation. People are going to go value dumping, and Nike is a turnaround play because insiders are buying. I mean, I hate that freaking business. What the fuck are these people doing? I hate that business. And Apple, I think you get a rotation out of, or it just stays flat because of how much it's run. Apple and Alphabet are the 2 that I think will lag out of the spectacular 6. And I think that the catch-up plays are Meta, Amazon, Microsoft. And I think NVIDIA just goes higher.
I just want to say, I love how you can turn into that, Steve, and then go back to talking stocks. Like, it is actually an art. Like, it really is an art. It's incredible.
If you say so.
brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. Just want to let you know. It brings a lot. The chat is it brings a lot of joy to
it. Would not be 2026 without a horn honk, right?
It would not. It would not. No, I agree with you. I think this is playing it a little bit more conservative here. So, okay, so let's talk about the NCAA draft that we had, because it ended up with NVIDIA being the winner.
I'm glad you brought this up, because I got two things to say. And I don't know if you want to partake or not, but we redid it last night with Gemini. And would you believe that Gemini came up with the same exact Final Four as we did? And we ran it with freaking ChatGPT. ChatGPT came up with the exact same Final Four as we came up with.
ChatGPT. So our Final Four was Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, right?
No, it was Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, NVIDIA.
Oh, sorry, I meant NVIDIA versus Google.
Yep.
Wow. So in each of the rounds, that's how we came to those Final Four.
Yeah. So ChatGPT and Gemini came up with the same Final Four. ChatGPT came up with the same winner and same finalized game, and they crowned NVIDIA the winner, whereas Gemini had Microsoft beating Meta, I believe. Or maybe Microsoft beating Amazon. No, it's Microsoft beating Amazon, I think.
So Microsoft was the winner for Gemini.
Yeah, so what I'm planning on doing tonight at 7 or 7:30, because we're not going live until 10 p.m. for FinTech Friday, I am planning on doing a live stream. We're going to do it with the community. 1-minute timers. I'm going to do every round in a poll, and we're going to see what the chat thinks, who should win each game from the same things. So we get a bigger subset of people voting.
Oh, that's a good idea. I just asked the chat right now, Meta or Microsoft, if that's the final round. The fact that they picked Microsoft is crazy.
I don't know if it's that crazy.
I mean, it's not that crazy, but Meta's depressed on its multiple. Microsoft is not.
It is, but Microsoft's actually trading at a low multiple also, and they got all the components to just break out.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Again, these are S&P 500 companies. These aren't the entire market. So that's why, obviously, the Mag 7 ended up coming to the end. That is crazy, though, because it shows that even AI is thinking the Mag 7 should beat everything else.
Yeah, both models basically said that the Mag 7 will lead the way in 26, which is not that surprised. You know, Tanner wasn't surprised, and I'm really not that surprised either. And I'm very interested to see, even if we only have a couple hundred people doing it with me tonight, we're going to start at 7:30, that area, because I need to be off by like 9:45, and I think it's going to take a good hour and a half to get through it. I am very interested to see how it unfolds with a couple hundred people voting.
I feel like it's going to be the same, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay, but so would you agree that those should be the top four? I mean, what are your top four picks on the top of your head, or top three picks?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, look, I'm a shareholder of all four, and I really don't hate that. And I did think look, you may have a company breakout, like a Broadcom can outpace NVIDIA. You know, there are some that I wouldn't be surprised, but I do think if you're going to make a pick, it's hard to go with one of those companies over NVIDIA based on the setup.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny how this stuff always comes back to the biggest ones in the world.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, even selling any of those names here today, outside of like really needing to take some gains, I feel like you let the year play out. Because if NVIDIA were to get to 130 or Meta was to get to 520 or something, like how much money would get so excited from our good friend in the money market funds, which, by the way, last week, 60 billion was added, 7.73 trillion now waiting.
Yeah.
I mean, you get that type of decline coming out.
And I do think that over the next year and a half, as rates come down, you get about $1 trillion coming out of money markets back into equities. Because under 3%, there's got to be a psychological trigger that says, okay, I'm not even getting 3% anymore. Is this even worth it?
Right. Right. And if it's not worth it, money's got to go somewhere.
Exactly.
Alberto says, can we please get a camera inside Steve's car when he goes full NYC on people?
I mean, we may be able to arrange that at some point.
You talk about content? You talk about becoming a YouTuber? That's what people would watch on your channel.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that out there, though.
You probably don't, but oh my goodness, would it bring some views to your channel? I'm linking Steve's channel right here. Again, he'll be live at 7. You can also watch his I'm sorry video as well. Steve, silver and gold, are you playing those at all for next year or no?
No, listen, there's so much silver on the sidelines. Like, I really don't think people understand how much silver is out there. And I get it. There's no new silver mines built or constructed in God knows how long. And now the byproduct of silver is from mining gold and copper. I fully understand that. At the same time, there is no way people actually understand, unless you follow the market, how much silver is being hoarded right now. And at some point, it's going to get sold and come back on the market. If silver pumps to over 100, you watch how quickly people start freaking going back to the woodshed and bringing silver bars to every pawn shop and every freaking exchange there is.
I agree. I mean, if it gets to that type of a point, unless the powers that be continue to take it higher, I think it probably takes. I mean, we already had margin get increased by CME 3 times.
So I sent you a video from Yankee Stacking. I sent it to Chris and I sent it to somebody else. If you actually watch some of his videos, and he shoots all of them out of a coin dealer shop up in New Hampshire, okay? And he interviews people going there and buying bullion from Tim the dealer, okay? These people are nuts. They legitimately think cash is trash. They legitimately think it is a hedge against inflation, it is a hedge against the printing press, and they would rather have silver and gold than actual dollars. I'm telling you that the amount of silver out there is so vast. There's a video from SD Bullion going into their vault. It's insane. It's legitimately insane.
The one place where this could get bearish for the market is in 2011, S&P took a nice dump when silver took its dump. So if silver does potentially take a dump, as you're saying, if it gets those extreme levels, I mean, it feels like there's going to be a market ramification as well.
Yeah, but remember, 2011, you were coming off the financial crisis. That could have been for several reasons. If anything, it'll help the market, because right now, silver this high is not good for electronic companies, and it's not good for the end consumer, because silver is the best conductor of electricity, and it is needed in everything. In addition, they are trying to now build cabling and everything else from silver just to gain just a millisecond of speed. So you want silver prices lower. Otherwise, you're going to see consumer electronics start spiking.
Why do you think SaaS, you probably didn't see it today, but CRM, Adobe, every SaaS name, including Palantir, got annihilated today? Any logic on why you think that happened?
At least Palantir, I have some logic around it.
Okay.
And it's not for what you're thinking. It is because my theory is people who did not take profits throughout the year are not taking profits and then offsetting with losses at the end of the year, okay? People are waiting till the beginning of January, so they have a year and a half to pay the tax bill instead of 3 months.
So you think people just woke up today and took some profits on Palantir?
Yes. I may lose you, and if I do, I will call you back in a minute.
Okay, no worries.
But yes, why wouldn't you want a year and a half to pay that bill to the tax guy?
No, I agree. It's just all of software took a hit today. It wasn't just Palantir, but I agree with you that Palantir gains probably were some of the reasons why people. But it was just, dudes, like IGV fell 3%, SMH was up 5%. Like it felt like a rotation out of software to start off the year. And we just lost Steve. But I do agree with Steve, which is that this likely was due to people taking some profits as well. Although I think it's kind of fake, again, because when you talk about one or two names getting down an entire sector, you got to give some time to say, like, did people take profits on Salesforce today? No, because no one has any profits on Salesforce. Because if you bought last year, you're down 30%. So maybe it was more exaggerated on Palantir, but I think next week we'll see if it turns around. But then again, you have things like Micron, which people didn't want to take profits on Micron. People just wanted to pile in. So again, this way it was an incredibly interesting way to start off the year with a variety of different sectors participating in different ways. Energy caught a bit today. I think energy follows the semis, to be honest. I mean, semis are the biggest tailwind for energy. And I think that's why all of them, whether it's SMR, Bloom Energy, all those things, got a bit today as well. DoorDash, by the way, is going through a controversy. We didn't cover this story. It was down 3% today. Someone on Reddit who said they used to work at the company said that the price you pay for expedited delivery is fake, and it's a placebo effect that the company is testing or has always been testing on consumers. I don't think I've ever paid for like Uber Eats or DoorDash to be quicker. Like it's usually an extra $4 or $5. I don't think I've ever like clicked on that option, but basically the post says that it's not real, which honestly is not that hard to believe. But if that's true, I think you might see some lawsuits on DoorDash as well. Let me see if I can pull up that comment as well. Yeah, here it is. So again, alleged insider on Reddit claims priority delivery doesn't actually speed anything up and was tested as a placebo by slowing non-priority orders to make priority feel faster. He also claims driver benefits fees don't go to drivers and driver pay can be lowered if the algos expect a tip. Someone said I knew that shit was BS. Yeah. It kind of feels like that. Look at this. I'm posting this from a library Wi-Fi from a burner laptop because I'm technically under a massive NDA, but I don't care anymore. And then this guy goes into it and says everything's a scam. I mean, dude, I wouldn't put it against these companies. DoorDash, Uber, these business models rely on these types of incentives to be able to juice up their free cash flow margins. And so maybe there is some type of placebo effect. Tesla's the one time I used it, it took forever. Yeah, I could definitely imagine that. All right, so that's what we got there. Nike, I think this was also a relatively strong day for the Nike brand. That one was up, what, 2% almost? Oh, it actually ended down. It was up 2% in the morning. 63.28. All right, so that was green. That one ended down. Amcor was up 3. Micron was up 10. Still going after hours. Micron 317. And then Tesla up a little bit after hours as well. I need a burner laptop as well. I feel like if you're in tech, you can't do a lot of stuff off your work laptop because it's your work laptop. What's your tax bill this year? Honestly, I don't know. I was talking with my CPA last night. I don't know, dude. 'Cause honestly, I feel like I have violated the wash sale rule so many times this year, like by rolling covered calls, then not waiting the 30 days because you technically have to. So I have no idea what my tax bill is going to look like. Pretty sure it's going to be more than last year. I do have more expenses to the business now. Problem is there's also more revenue, so that kind of offsets it. And I am going to be taking advantage of my entire solo 401k. So I think that's going to be a decent amount of money. I think the max you can take off is 70 grand. And so I think I'll be able to get like 50, 60 grand off that. But I still think it's going to be an ugly bill. And so, yeah, there's going to be a decent chunk to pay. But it is what it is. That's life. It's kind of what you got to do as you grow older. Your CPA he wasn't working. I just sent him an email and he happened to respond yesterday. I was going to send them the email later, but I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just sending this email. And he responded. That's why he's my guy, dude. He's quick. He's it is a blessing in life to find a good CPA. Someone that can actually answer your messages and is not going to get mad at you when you ask stupid questions. Now, ChatGPT does a really good job as well, but you need something official. And it's good to have one. Did your email start with, I'm sorry? My CPA is useless. I need a new guy that actually knows something. I found this guy 2019. So I've had him for a long time. And he's just been really, really good since then. All right, Steve, you're back.
Hey, So what I was saying is, think about it like this: if you didn't have any losses in the year, December, do it on January 1st or January 2nd. That way, you have a year and a half to pay the tax bill and potentially accrue losses to offset it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair point. And that's applicable to a lot of names that got hit today. Steve, let me ask you this last question, and then we'll be done for today, which is, you're very bullish. How would you steelman your bull case if you had to say it's going to be a bad year? What would be the number one reason you think why?
Say that again, Amit?
If you had to steelman your bull case on the S&P next year, what would be the biggest reason for why you think it could be an ugly year?
Unemployment goes up, or everybody gets shook that something bad happens in the midterms. But I think gridlock is actually the best case scenario. So I don't know. Like if one of the branches gets lost, you get gridlock, so nothing really gets passed. Not the worst situation in the world at this point.
So if the Democrats win the House or the Senate, you think that's actually bullish?
I mean, I just think it's a deadlock, so you get the same thing you have right now. Nothing is you're really going to get passed and not get anything off track. So I don't think that's a horrible scenario. I think it's more, unemployment at this point or something that we're not seeing. I'm not worried about the political front right now.
Okay, so unemployment, I would agree that like if the labor market really ramps up to the downside, yeah, that's bad. But if that doesn't happen, which we're not really seeing evidence of that yet. People have jobs, they have money, they're going to spend.
I mean, how much have we heard that the consumer's in trouble? The consumer's in trouble, but every single time, it doesn't really look like the consumer's in trouble.
Yeah,
like
it's weird.
At what point are they going to stop saying this?
Yeah, and the counter argument is everything the consumer's been doing is on credit, and eventually there's a day of reckoning that's coming. But I don't know. We haven't seen that yet.
Haven't seen it.
Yeah, agreed. All right. Well, Steve, thank you for joining on the first market close of 2026. I'm linking Steve's channel. He'll be live in about a few hours.
Yep, I'm going to make the link when I get upstairs. I'm currently outside freezing just to talk to you, so I didn't lose you through the freaking basement.
See, you love us. You really do love us. We love you.
I do.
All right. There's Steve's link. Thank you, Steve. We'll see you tonight.
All right. Have a great night.
Later. I think we're probably not going to get the exact same 4. Like, you guys are probably not going to vote for the exact same 4 that Gemini, ChatGPT, and then me, Matt, and Steve did. But I think it'll get pretty close. Like, I wonder how you guys will vote on the matchups. So that will be pretty interesting what people vote on. All right, guys. I think that's it for us. First market opening close for 2026. Still hasn't hit me. Obviously it hasn't hit me given I'm titling the stream as 2025. But yeah, we're done with 25. We got to move on. Brand new year, brand new challenges, brand new stuff to navigate. I'll be in Vegas on Sunday. I'm going to be there. Am I doing the futures on Sunday? That's a good question. What time does the flight? I think I am. The futures are at 8 p.m., so that'll be 5 p.m. I think I should be good too. I'm getting there really early, so I'm not going to be cutting it close. So yes, futures should still happen on Sunday. Yeah, and ranted all year. No, I'm not ranting just for the hell of it. Although I am about to go become a man and go to Home Depot because I got to get some shit. This is probably why I'm not going to make the Steve stream either. Got to do a little construction in the house, not the house, the apartment tomorrow. Fix up a couple things. So I'm about to go to Home Depot. It's always nice to go to Home Depot, dude. You feel like you're supposed to be the man you're supposed to be when you go to Home Depot. Even though you go up to the employee like, hey, where is this? Like, you just start asking other people you don't actually know what's in Home Depot. But yeah, no, I'll be live on Sunday. And then market open, market close. I think the close might be in jeopardy next year. Not next year. Goodness, why do I keep saying next week on like 2 or 3 days? But for the majority of the week, like Thursday, Friday for sure, it should be fine. Wednesday should be fine. I think Monday Jensen is talking during the close. So that would be a little tough to do. But yeah, the market open, I'll be up at like 5:45 every morning. So the market open will still take place every single day next week. So definitely the market open. The close, we might have 2 days where we don't have to close. But once we're done with next week, we have earnings. So after next week, we get into earnings, and then we'll really start to see what results these companies put up. And if the financials do well, then maybe that sets us up for technology going into 2026. I will have my bell in the hotel. I will have the little bell, the one that's not as obnoxious as the big one. So we will still be ringing a bell. Dude, I've never seen CES. I've really never seen it. But it'll be fun. It should be fun. I've heard of CES a lot, but never actually been there. Dude, also, we still have earnings. Remember Trump was threatening we're going to get rid of earnings and it's going to be like 2 times a year? Like, I don't think that's passing anytime soon. If that was going to pass, they would have done it by now. And that might be something that happens in like 2 years. I really doubt, because companies would have to prepare immediately to change and get ready for that. And every company just announced their first earnings, which is 90 days, or the last 90 days, which is still the regular cycle. So we should be having earnings. I'm not sharing a bathroom with Tanner, but Tanner will be there. I'm going to stay there a couple of days longer than Tanner and Jose. I think they're leaving on Wednesday. I'm going to be leaving on Friday. But yeah, Tanner will be there. Maybe we can convince him to join a stream. You know, Tanner, he likes his beauty sleep. It's going to be hard to wake him up. Although when I'm traveling, it's actually easy to wake up. I don't know what happens, but especially on the West Coast, it's so easy to wake up early. I don't know why, but it is. Yeah, Jose is going as well, which will be fun. So should be cool. Jess is not going to this one. Probably the next event she'll be there, but this one she's not going to be at this one. All right, guys, that is it. I'll be back for Sunday for the futures. Hope everyone has a great weekend. If you're still enjoying it with your family on vacation, hopefully you enjoy it as well. I know we haven't fully ended out vacation mode for a lot of people, but I think next week we're going to be back in action. Keep going. Earnings will start January 14th. So we got about 2 weeks left until we get less than 2 weeks into earnings. And that's pretty much it. Brand new year. Brand new year. By the way, the poem I read in the morning, I think it really resonated with a lot of people. There's a lot of messages I got from people, like just really happy that they read this poem for the first time. I do think it's one of those things where if you're ever going to be motivated, the beginning of the year is the time to get motivated. And there's always something spiritual of just like getting a new chance and starting fresh. So there's a lot of things I want to accomplish this year, a lot of things I want to do with the community this year. And now we just got to get focused and start charging ahead to get there. So let's keep it going. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate it. Have a great end of, I was about to say end of year, dude. What? I am so stuck in 2025. End of the week. It's because today's a Friday. If today was a Monday, it would feel so different. It doesn't feel like it's freaking 2026 yet. But yeah, have a great weekend. We'll keep going from there. And go home. Andy says, yo, I bought a Grab driver jacket back from Vietnam. Would love to get it to you. Holler. Email Jess at akcoms.com. Jess at akcoms. I'll put in the email. I'll put in the chat. That's so cool, dude. You went to Vietnam and got a Grab jacket? That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to wear that. Yeah, so email her and we'll get it hooked up. We do have an interview ready to go for likely next week. It's the first CEO interview of the year. And I'm finishing up the editing of it, but it should be posted next week. And we're going to start off 2026 with a fun new interview. Hopefully people enjoy. And then all the VC A16Z stuff, that stuff's going to be posted tomorrow. I'm going to post a lot more details on that tomorrow on X. So for those that are interested in the venture capital stuff, that'll be posted tomorrow on X, and you'll be able to get more details there. All right. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. Enjoy the weekend. Happy New Year. And I will see you guys Sunday for the futures, and then Monday morning from Vegas back for the market open at CES. Bye, everybody. Have a great one. Love you all. See you guys Sunday night. Bye, everyone.